My aim is, come hell or high water, I want to add value to the company. I don't just want to do, dummy exercises to get the competency and move on. I want to contribute. I got distinctions in all my modules in university. And I'm proud of it because, obviously I know the blood, sweat and tears that went behind getting to those results. So I'm proud of myself for making it through that and then having those results speak for themselves. Oof, what if all of that was a fluke? What if that was just me getting lucky? Because you don't study for the marks, you study to, for universities, become a better engineer to gain that understanding. Yeah. So I would say it's that. I like to master the subject matter that I'm being taught. Yeah. Trying to think. There's anything I shouldn't say. I learned so much from production last year. It was, you must just, don't be in your own bubble, speak to people. Yeah. And that's how you really learn. Yeah. I learned so much about distillation columns from troubleshooting the one on our plant.
Doing it on the job.
More so than I ever learned in third year when we were doing the Cape Seal and all those theoretical calcs. Yeah. So, some call it strong-willed, others just call it stubborn, I guess.
Welcome to the P Squared podcast. Today I have Anya Rabbets.
Yes.
Yes, I don't know what episode this will be, but we'll just get on to it. Ma'am, welcome to the P Squared podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So we're just going to start with our moments.
All right.
The kids version. And you're going to just pick like 3 cards and we just start from there. Pick 3 randomly and then give them back to me.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Then
I can look at them.
No, we don't look at them.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So you were in court, no lies. Let's see. What are the most important things your parents have taught you?
3 most important things, or the most important things.
Yeah, just the most. Let's make it 3 then.
I think
you picked it up.
Persistently applied effort when it matters.
Okay.
That is a refrain my dad always likes to say, because with that helps me succeed a lot in academic life. I think also more just how they love the importance of family. Okay. And staying close to your family and having that community around you. And then this is one that my mom always taught me. It's, another refrain. It'll all be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end.
Yeah.
And that brought me through matric.
Okay. Second one. What are you most proud of?
Most proud of?
Yeah.
I am very proud of the fact that I got distinctions in all my modules in university. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud of it because, obviously I know the blood, sweat and tears that went behind getting to those results. So I'm proud of myself for making it through that and then having those results speak for themselves.
Yeah, very good. We'll just get into that, but I'll just let you answer these 3 questions. If you could change one thing about your appearance, what would it be?
About my appearance?
Yes.
Honestly, nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, obviously there are some bits that, you don't like as much as others, but, it all kind of makes me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really great. So, what I have here, you're going to be in an interview. Mm-hmm. You're applying for a job.
Ay. Pressure's on. I think last time I was in an interview was for my bursary, so it's been a minute.
Yeah. So, we'll just unpack it while we go through it.
Okay.
But just in general, looking at your academic journey from high school, including Varsity as well.
Okay.
Is incredible.
Thank you.
So, I just want to check what motivates you to maintain such high standards.
You know, I do put pressure on myself, but the way I've always approached academics is I like to understand the content that I'm learning.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I understand the subject matter, then I will naturally do well, because you don't study for the marks. You study to, well, you know, for universities, become a better engineer to gain that understanding.
Yeah.
So I would say it's that. I like to master the subject matter that I'm being taught.
Yeah. It's just to generalize again, like it was one thing that I had discussion with Rowan. I was like, Anya doesn't compete with anyone. She just like puts a lot of pressure on herself. And that's how she just excels in everything. She's like, you don't compete with anyone. You just like...
I think it's because I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, from past experiences, you know, I know that if I put the effort in, I can do so well.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I don't want to call it a drug, but, you know, you become addicted to doing well.
Yeah.
So then, you know, you keep motivating yourself to continue.
So like, what would you say like more like the habits or the strategies that you've used like along the way that helped you succeed?
Yeah, just habits and strategies. Not always equally healthy. I'm a procrastinator of note. So it's those last minute deadlines at the back of my head that are like, oh, ish, gotta put in the work now.
Yeah. That's one thing I had, like when I had a discussion with Shaw, I was like, my friend is such a procrastinator. I can tell you that. Then I spoke to her and I was like, no, Anya's a procrastinator. They were like, okay, she's a procrastinator that gets things done.
Yes.
You're like, you procrastinate, but you get things done.
Well.
You're like, she procrastinates, but she gets things done. How? We don't know, but she just gets them done.
I get it done. And for the most part, okay, well, I've never missed a deadline. So let's put it that way. But yeah, I would, you know, work well under pressure, I guess. But yeah, it's something that I'm trying to work on.
Yeah. I wonder how you procrastinate. So there's a definition of procrastination. There are procrastinators, then there's a procrastinator, and there's you, baby.
I'm not that bad.
For someone who gets all distinctions in varsity, no, different levels of procrastination. So I'm just going to mention a few things, and then, I try to skim through what I know, and you can just add in on that. So
okay,
let's get this right. Correct me if I'm wrong. So all 9 distinctions in metric, averaging like 94%.
Correct.
Second, during the Sasol Bursary Award, when they were giving like the awards and all of that.
Yeah.
Dean's List every single year.
Yes.
A Golden Key member.
Yes.
Lowest mark in your undergrad chemical engineering, it was 75%.
Yes.
Of which was like the first year of your studies.
Yeah, what was it? I think it was SWK. It was mechanics.
Yeah. And you're also a recipient of the South African Institute of Chemical Engineers. Got a silver medal award for the best final year student.
Yes.
Graduated at the top of your class in chemical engineering with a distinction averaging just over 88%, right?
Yes.
For all modules.
Yes.
So, question is, how do you do it? How do you approach learning and understanding? How do you do it? And you are a procrastinator. How do you do it?
You know, I would love it if you could tell me, because sometimes I also don't understand. I guess, you know, I know when it is time to knuckle down. It puts a lot of stress on me, but it's all right. Now, as I said, when it comes to learning, especially like the learning modules, so I'm not talking project-wise, it's focusing on the understanding and on the mastery. You do so many math examples until you get so bored of the thing, but then at least you know how to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand something, you know, or you sit with the problem first, and then you go to your teachers, you go to your lecturers, you use other resources to help you. So I found that helpful. You know, I wasn't afraid to approach, the teaching assistants and the lecturers, became besties with them. I could be like, help me.
What's the most difficult module or subject that you had? Well, we can't say difficult because someone has been getting like 75s all the time.
Okay.
The most challenging one.
Most challenging one, I would say third year thermodynamics with Prof. Walter Fokker. That was a crazy module. Just like I would say the mathematical intensity of those calculations, all the Gibbs free energy, those derivations from first principles.
Yep.
And it was just such a big jump in difficulty between second and third year. So I think we all, like my whole class, we were kind of like, what is this?
Yeah.
And a lot of long nights trying to do those assignments. So that I would say that was the most challenging module.
Yeah. While you're speaking now about derivation, still on thermodynamics, it was like there was this one that used to give me sleepless nights, but Temba used to get it very easy. I don't know if you know Temba, like, it was easy for him. But yeah.
I got it in the end.
You got it in.
I got it in the end. I remember, I have such a distinct memory too, actually. We were having this assignment. We were split into groups. Each group got a model that they had to derive to get an activity coefficient or something. And we were there in the engineering building, writing on the chalkboard, and the equations were so long and we weren't getting it. And then our lecturer walked in and he looked at the board with a face of such disgust. And he was like, guys, really?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. And one thing, like everybody is from high schools and there are smart people that come in there. So how do you what do you think contributed to your success, given that that is a highly competitive environment? I mean, chemical engineering, for anyone that is average, it will knock them down. So
yeah. I think it's also a matter of I chose the right degree for me.
Yeah.
I've always been a very mathy person. So math, I get. Physics, I get. I understand that. And I think that also helps. And having that really good foundation that, also high school provided for me, it helped me to, apply that to this new, more difficult math and more difficult science in the degree itself. So, I came in, I've heard all these stories about people who get 90% in high school and then they drop to barely passing in university. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I just want to graduate within 4 years. That's achievement enough.
It's them. I'm me. I'm different. I'm a different breed.
I didn't, or rather because I didn't know what to expect, I didn't put that pressure on myself initially. Yeah. But then when I saw that I kept on doing well, I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah. Then I want to get this. You're a procrastinator that gets things done. So, how do you, let me put this on, how do you make sure you get things done? Like when it's time to play, you play. When it's time to work, you work. Or how do you do it? Why do people feel like you are a procrastinator that gets things done?
So, have
you
ever that too? Have you ever heard that TED talk about procrastination? And then, when the deadline's far away, you have those instant gratification monkeys that kind of distract you from doing the work. And then as soon as the deadline hits, the panic monster wakes up. And people like to associate that with me. I think, just thinking of why it's so difficult for me to get started, I think it's also slightly a matter of perfectionism. So I want to know how I can do this right and the best way of doing it before I get started. And sometimes, bites me in the back. So then I'm like, okay, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect right time, first time around. It just needs to be done.
Yeah, I see.
So, as soon as that panic monster starts,
Become beast mode.
yeah, and it becomes in beast mode or just, comes out, it's like, oh, okay, you know what? Just get it done. Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just get it done and you can edit it later.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Then I was gonna ask you this, but I just skipped it. For you to get the work done, or just in general at Varsity with smart people involved there, like, do you feel some sense of like healthy competition with your peers, or was it just more about your personal drive?
Yeah, I think university, there could be some friendly competition, but the emphasis there is really on friendly.
Yeah.
Sorry. For me, it was more just competing with myself and knowing what I can do. I mean, it's nice. Like, it's nice knowing that I'm top in my degree. So that's a very nice thing to have. But while I was in it, I had this, not competition with myself, but, my not goal, but I was like, it would be nice if I could finish this degree having gotten distinctions in every module. Because I know I'm capable of it. And I know I can understand the work. So for me, more competition with myself. And there, it was very nice to just associate myself with, other people in my degree who also like doing well and who also understand the subject matters and, who also really enjoy what they are studying. Because then it's nice and you can actually talk to them about it. And instead of it being a competition, you help each other out.
Yeah. That's one thing, like, your friend mentioned was like, yeah, there was this point one time she will just need help, not to mention the specifics, but she will need help, but she will be there for her. It was third year, and there was the course before CIO or COI or something. There was like something else, and then, it was rough, but you were there for her.
Yeah,
She forgot what it was. She was like the course before CIO.
It was, our course module at UP, it's called COP, it's Heat and Mass Transfer.
Okay.
It's very difficult. What made it more difficult is that we didn't necessarily get on with our lecturer. So his method of teaching just didn't mesh well with everyone. So, for me, it was also quite a lot of self-study. And I'm very much, university is a team sport. You got to help each other out.
Yeah.
You can't go through it alone because, it just doesn't work. So if I get something, if people need help, I'll help them.
Yeah.
And then if I need help, it's nice to know that I've got people who have my back as well.
Yeah. So if there's anything, like speaking to one person, you might not have like enough information. But now I spoke to your friend and I spoke to your brother. It was like I'm speaking to the same person. Like, they telling me almost the same information. I was like, okay,
that's good.
One thing, for just gauging from both of them, one thing for sure, they never had to worry about whether you're gonna perform. It was just okay, she's gonna do well, but yeah, it's a given. They know how smart you are and everything you are capable. So
they tease me because in the middle of it, I'd be like, "Ish, guys, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this." They're like, "Anya, come on, we know you." Yeah. And then I get to the other side and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it was fine."
Then I asked your brother, I was like, "What is it that you're most proud of?" I was like, "We already know like she's smart and everything, and everybody talks about it." But the only thing that he's like for sure proud of was like, you were an introvert, so he was kind of like surprised how well you did with public speaking and debating. He was like, this is my little sister. Yeah, don't. She calls you child. Oh, you guys will come to that part. Yeah, but the one thing that he was proud of, it was that you just went into public speaking and debating and stuff, and you were like an introvert.
Yeah.
And then now
here I am.
Yeah, you were something else. So yeah, it was like that. I was like, okay. Yeah, but now before we go into the topic of overcoming challenges and pressures, how did you figure out like you want to do chemical engineering? I have a story of my own. I hope you match it.
Ooh, okay. Well, the story of your own is in how you got it? Or
Yeah, how I got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start all the way, like way back when. I think ever since I was like 10, I knew I wanted to do something with science.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you did natural sciences, I think starting grade 4, and I'm like, this stuff is cool. And then when I was 12, I was selected as part of the South African team at the International Maths and Science Olympiad. That year it was held in the Philippines. And there, you know, in those courses, we started doing high school science and high school chemistry. And it was really, really, really cool. And I really enjoyed it. And from then I was like, okay, cool. I'll do something in STEM. What? I don't know. But I'll do that. And shame. My dad tried to like say, Anya, don't you want to be like an asset manager or something? And I'm like, nope. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Sorry. But yeah, that was kind of where I was for a long time. And, you know, it's not good enough because, you know, when you pick a degree, it's like, what's in this? You know, do you study BSc chemistry? Do you do maths? Do you do physics? Do you do whatever? So then grade 11, you know, starting exploring options, went to Stellenbosch for their science winter week, got exposed to, you know, all the different types of degrees they have in their Faculty of Natural Sciences. It was very interesting, but it still wasn't 100% what I wanted to do. Grade 11, I decided I wanted to do something in the field of sustainability. I did a project with WITS, actually. It's called their like grade 11 integrated science and economics, something. But it was essentially each school had a group of 5 grade 11s, and then you solve a problem with science that's also economically viable. And that year it happened to be the water crisis in Cape Town. And then, you know, did a lot of water-based science and engineering solutions. And I'm like, this is really cool. I want to go into like environmental stuff, sustainability. What's the best way to get me there? And then my best friend, her aunt works as a lecturer of chemical engineering part-time at WITS and at UP. So then she took me to meet her students. And from there, I was like, okay, this chemical engineering thing looks pretty cool. Let's apply for that. So that's my story.
Okay. No, you never did shadowing, nothing?
No, my job shadowing, I shadowed a doctor, actually, a research doctor. Her company kind of does drug trials for patients with HIV and tuberculosis. Yeah. So that was very interesting. But ultimately, I decided that healthcare wasn't for me.
Okay.
And then, and then that was kind of my process into it.
Yeah, okay. Then people know you as the smart person, genius person. But what is it that they don't know about Anya?
Can you repeat that? What is it?
Like people know you as like this smart person. So what is it that they don't know about you that you can do as well?
What they don't know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if you talk about hobbies and stuff outside of academics, because I tend to build up a reputation in that regard. I enjoy being creative, working with my hands. Yeah. I started doing cross stitch. I do mosaic, things like that. Very stereotypical nerd moment. I love to read.
Yes. And guys, one thing again. During shutdown, we did shut down together. During COVID, can you just tell them how many books you read? Yeah.
I will just, before I say that disclaimer, it was COVID. I didn't have much of a social life in COVID, but in my first year and in my second year, I think I read about 45 to 50 books a year, novels, ne?
Yeah.
But again,
they're just not These kind of books, yeah. These kind of books.
Again, I had the time because I wasn't doing much else except studying. But then I got to third year and final year, and then that dropped to about $30 a year.
30 books a year.
Yeah.
Well, where are you sitting right now? Right now, where are you sitting? You're sitting on 1, 2?
How many have I read this year? I think I'm on my 5th.
Okay. I think that's what I will cover for the whole year. Thank you.
So, listen, it's amazing what you can, how many books you can read when you're on leave.
Okay. Nah, thank you. Yeah, five already. It's just
Yeah.
It's just been a month.
It's just been a month. There's my
2025.
newest one.
Okay, you're gonna finish that by the end of the week, I guess.
Ish. I think I'm only a third of the way through.
So, but like when you smart, people think like everything just comes easy to you, and then you don't have challenges or anything like that. Like just expect okay, this person gets things done. Of course, things are gonna get done. But was there like a moment where you felt like giving up or doubted your abilities and stuff?
It's funny because I doubt myself all the time, and people just don't notice it. I think I must have like a good poker face or something. Because I was actually having this conversation with one of my friends, and two of the people that I studied with, they went to her and was like, Nina, does Anya ever get stressed? I've never seen her stressed. And I'm like, I actually stress so much because, when you're in that moment before, if you're studying for this test and you don't understand the concepts, if you're busy with this project and your code is not working out, then I'm like, I don't know. Like there were so many times, especially in third year, where I would think to myself, how on earth am I going to get through this year? How am I going to make it through the end of first semester, let alone third year? And so I think everyone has those moments of self-doubt.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it imposter syndrome, but sometimes you get to that point and you're like, oof, what if all of that was a fluke? What if that was just me getting lucky? And, I know I shouldn't think like that, but, you do.
Your track record doesn't say anything about luck. So,
but, I can't speak for everyone, but sometimes I feel like, my head is, just conning me into thinking that. And I'm like, no, I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But when you're in that moment, when you're struggling, then you're thinking, oh my goodness, am I going to get through it?
Yeah. So, like, you've got, like, a lot of awards and stuff. But if you have to pick one, what is the one that you were excited, like, to get? Like, you can remember it, like, yesterday.
Most excited to get? I think because I must say it was the Psyche Award. I was sitting at my desk at Techno Park and I get this random call from this woman and she's like, oh yeah, you got top in your degree at UP. Yeah. When can I deliver this thing to you? Oh, and, I knew there was a possibility, but I was still so excited to have gotten that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think the next biggest thing was that module that I just got a distinction for, the 75%.
Yeah.
That was the one I was most excited for because there was a point where I didn't even know if I would pass it. Okay. The second semester test, I failed the second semester test and I was like, yep. But then when I saw that 75 on the dot, I was so excited.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you still remember the first time we spoke?
Yeah.
What was the first time? What did I say?
It was during shutdown. Can't really remember.
Nah, it's not during shutdown. Well, face to face, it was shutdown.
Face to face.
First time.
Was it you that gave doctor my name? Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I just called. I was like, I know you don't know me and I'm not a scammer, but I know you're doing good. But yeah, I'm going to give you a name to this person and he's going to reach out to you. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. And
Yeah,
then
that was
he
the first time we
interviewed me.
spoke. Then we met again during shutdown. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Then just gonna pause most of the stuff. But now, if you have to give anyone advice that is going into university and they wanna do chemical engineering, what advice would you give them?
I think number one, I would say before you start chemical engineering, and it's a mistake that a lot of people do, is that they don't really know what chemical engineering is when they get into it. So I would say, if you can, speak to people who have studied it. You need to like math. If you don't like math, you can still do it, but it's maybe not the best degree for you. So I'd say, firstly, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into and kind of the content matter, because I think that's why a lot of people pull out, actually. So yes, it does get tough, but they realize it's not what they thought it would be. So that's number one before you get into it. And once you're in it, I would say the best piece of advice I can give is, you start learning the people in your degree, making friends with your lecturers, making friends with your TAs. There'll be a lot of times when you're sitting there and you're struggling, and the modules are hard and the subject matter is very, very challenging. But you don't have to go through it alone. So sit with the problem, struggle through it, puzzle through it, but then talk to your lecturer. They really don't bite and they love to help. So I would say, don't be afraid of reaching out for help if you're struggling.
Okay. Then just on Accolades side of things, again, one more on that. Like, how do you, because I know people struggle, they just let success get into their heads, but how do you balance like receiving the accolades with staying focused and composed on your ongoing goals?
I think, there's always more to learn. Doing well in high school doesn't necessarily mean you'll do well in university. You have to continue putting in the effort. And doing well in university doesn't mean you'll necessarily be successful in the workplace. You have to adapt to that as well. And you have to adapt to the fact that, okay, cool, now you finished your degree, you're coming into the workplace. You don't really know a lot, actually. So you have to be willing to, not know a lot. You have to be willing to always learn more and understand that there is always more to learn. I feel. So, appreciate the awards, because, like those ones, I've earned them. I'm very grateful for them. But then, you look forward and see what you can learn more.
I mean, throughout your academic career, who would you say, or maybe might be more than one person, like, are they mentors, professors, or teachers, or figures in general that shaped your academic journey, that have like positive influence on it?
To say, starting with university, there were definitely a few lecturers that I always looked up to a lot. My final year research project supervisor, Elizabeth Dutoy, she was a fantastic supervisor. I feel like I really learned a lot from her. Also just in terms of how to conduct research. Another professor I really admired was Prof. Walter Fokker. He was the third year thermodynamics lecturer. He was so intelligent, and it was just so interesting to listen to him speak. And even with all that, when I approached him with a problem, he really sat and he tried to help me go through it and try to get me to understand. And, him and Elizabeth and several others, just their willingness to help, that really inspired me and really helped me. But those were two that I definitely looked up to in university. I think, even in high school, there were several teachers that I looked up to. Just not necessarily for their subject matter, but just how they were as people and how they were as, I want to say, leaders and supporters of my career.
Now, then how do you find the integration or work-life balance, or however they want to call it, when it comes to your work, friends, family, and just time to yourself? Avoid burnout.
I will say it's a lot easier to do that now than when I was studying. Okay. I'm a very family-oriented person. Yes. I, especially, my close family, my parents, my brother, grandparents. So we're very close. So in university, I'd always try to go home at least like once every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, just to see them. And then I chat to them almost every night as well, video call.
Yeah. So your brother mentioned, I was like, she's big on family.
I am.
She has a big heart, and then even when she's there, she's not always on the phone. She'll just be there in the moment, like with the family. That's one thing.
He says that because I like to come into his room and bother him.
It's like, Yeah. I think it might be that one, because I asked him, what is it that if you had to like switch days, and was it that? But it was something along those lines of like if there's anything that you will take from her, like a quality from her, what would it be? It was like, she's just big on family and stuff. She has a big heart, and she just like looks out for people in her life. So
I'm a big believer in, you surround yourself by the people who don't just find time for you, they make time for you.
Yeah.
And especially for my brother, always, I tell him, if you need to call me in the middle of the night because you're struggling with this problem, just call me. It's fine.
Yeah.
But so them, even in university, I think, now it's easier to make time for the rest.
The rest, yeah.
For hobbies and actually, exercise and taking care of yourself in such a way, because you have that free time now in the evenings and over weekends. University was a lot more tricky, but you find time. There must always be a balance. I think I would have gone nuts if it was just academics and nothing else.
Yeah.
So, my favorite moments of university be like, we had a group of friends, we were 6 girls. And, it's between lectures, you go grab a coffee at one of the coffee shops close to the engineering building, or you sit at UP, there's this field of grass called the aula. You just sit there in between classes and you chat.
Oh, okay.
Or, you'd make time after end week, you'd go out for dinner or something.
Yeah.
So even if it's not as much, especially I think the more social people would struggle with engineering if they don't have, if they can't go out. But it's kind of, you make time for it. You can't really, if you just wait for everything to clear up, you'll be waiting forever.
Yeah. Then while you're talking about your brother, you go into his room all the time and stuff. But what about the time when he hit his head on something and he started crying and shouting, and you thought and then,
he told you that story.
He told me that story.
We were very young, okay? I think I know what story this is. We were very young. Okay, listen, my brother and I get along very well. I think even when we were younger, to the point where people would like, man, I can't believe, you two are so close. Me and my siblings, we fight all the time. So preface it with that. But, I think there was this point we were arguing. I was miffed with him for something. I can't even remember what. I was like 6. He was 4 or something. And then, he went, I think he was to the bathroom or something. And then I just hear khadoof. And I hear him crying. And I'm like, that boy probably saw a spider or something.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And then somehow, he tore his ear open. And he had to be rushed to the emergency room to get stitches. And I felt really, really bad.
Yeah, it was like he screamed because he got a spider, and he was like, you said Oh, it served you right until you saw it was a serious thing that he had to be rushed to the hospital.
Yeah, I was like, this boy. And then I saw him rush to the doctor. I'm like, I feel really, really bad.
Yeah, I feel bad. I was like, that's what she does. Big sister.
Again, we were very young. There was another time we were like on the jungle gym or something. He hit his head again. That's like a running theme for him when he was younger. It's always hitting his head on something. Like, fine. And I walked up to the garden to go fetch my mom. Then I stepped on the bee. Then I was the one with the medical emergency.
Yeah, he mentioned like you were running to get help, then you got stuck by a bee. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Yeah, he mentioned those two actually. Whew. Okay. Then just let me see. I have 3 questions. Just pick one out of this. It's gonna be a long one though. I have 3 questions. 1, 2, 3. Just pick a number between 1 and 3.
2.
Let's
Start
go 2.
in the middle.
Actually, now I'll just skip this one. This one is very into the academics again, but there's still another 3 questions. But I'll just choose this one then. So, who or what has been your biggest source of inspiration in your life outside academia? That can be, I don't know, a family member, personal experience, or something that you're just passionate about, an activity. So,
Sheesh.
source of inspiration, yes.
Source of inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's difficult to name one singular one, I would say.
Yeah.
Outside of academics. I think, my family does inspire me. There were times, financials aren't going so great or whatever, but it's just how we always push through it.
Yeah.
And as I said with my mom, I'd always come to her and she'd be like, you know what? I firmly believe it'll all be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. And I can see how she lives that principle as well.
Okay.
And that has also just been a big inspiration to how I want my mindset to be.
Yeah, same.
So, that's definitely one of them.
That's really good. Mom, thank you for being there for this. Beautiful soul.
Yes.
So, okay, cool. So, now transitioning into your career. Completing your first your studies and then just coming into the workforce. What has surprised you about this shift from just academia then coming into the working environment?
I would say if I just go on the work itself, just on the subject matter itself, then I'll get into, everything around it, just the whole lifestyle shift. I would say it's kind of how little university preps you for the working world and how different it is.
Yeah.
Because, university, you get this sort of fundamental theoretical understanding. You get to the working environment, especially as a first-year engineer in training, you start off with tech support. And then suddenly you have to have, a lot of soft skills. You have to be able to manage people. And then also just if you're troubleshooting, I really learned on the fly.
Yeah.
So it's a very different environment. It's more you really have to think on your feet and you have to make decisions. And with those decisions, you just use your judgment and then take it from there. Whereas with university, I could get stuck in a problem for hours and just take my time, sort through it, be thorough, get the right answer. And now it's like my area manager said, I would rather an answer that's 80% correct right now than an answer that's 99% correct in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of adapting to.
Yeah. You think Anya 5-7 years ago would have survived in the industry? Being an introvert.
Listen, if you told my okay, maybe not matric self, because that's when I knew Sasol was in the picture. If you told my grade 11 self that I would be like scaling distillation columns and getting my face filthy, like you saw during shutdown, I would have been like, excuse you, I don't think so. Yeah. And yet here I am. I think it's taught me to adapt a lot.
Now you mentioned the shutdown. It was weird. After you take your mask, they will see like that soot sitting on your cheeks and everything. I still remember.
I'm like, it's fine if I get dirty. I'll just wash my face. But what would happen was my goggles would fog up all the time. So then I'd be touching my face like that.
Getting in there with a mask, like, yo.
So I'm like, you know what? If that's how it's got to be, it's fine, I guess. I'll just wash my face afterwards.
Yeah. Then I was going to ask you, but you already spoke about it. I was like, do you think Varsity prepared you for this life though?
It prepared me in some ways, but okay. Last year we had a problem. We had a problem with one of our distillation columns, and let's just say that module didn't help me much. I learned so much about distillation columns from troubleshooting the one on our plant.
Doing it on the job.
More so than I ever learned in third year when we were doing McCabe seal and all those theoretical calcs.
Yeah.
So you learn a lot here, and I think you learn a lot more practically over here as well.
Yeah.
And then you can use those fundamentals from university to aid in that. But it's very, very different.
Yeah. Well, then there was this question. Shola said I should ask you this.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, because it was like, she must be getting tired of people dipping in on the academics, how well she did and all that. She also wants to know like other things in your life as well. Like not just the academics. I'm not all about academics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, I know the whole point of this was not to just focus more on the work that you've done because you just started. So I don't want to put the pressure on you on that part. But like for the past year, like what can you tell me? Can be shut down or a project or a task that you've done, like in your first year that made you feel proud of yourself. Like, okay, actually I'm proud of this. I've done this. This is me.
In terms of work?
Yeah.
You know what? I think, shut down. That was very physical. I've never been a very physical person. So just getting to the point where it's like,
I would have never thought you are not a physical person. Yeah, you are up and down.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm proud that I managed to do that. I didn't. Even if you think you're not scared of heights, you test yourself when you climb those columns. Yeah. So the fact that I was able to go through it. I think the first time when I was in that total stripper, I was like, no, this is not great. My flashlight wasn't working. I was panicking, but I was like, it's okay. But I managed to get through that, and I felt like, that was a really good growth moment. In terms of, I would say, more cerebral work, that whole story with our compressors, with those failures. Yeah. And it was me, Kurtley, a bunch of other engineers and multidisciplined or various disciplines sitting in one room together for 2 weeks, just trying to figure out why these compressors failed and how we can stop them. That was a very, I would say at the point, harrowing experience, but no, it was a very good growth moment as well.
Okay.
Getting to interact with all those people of various disciplines, really testing my knowledge on compressors and how this works and putting investigative skills to the test. I would say that was a very big moment for me as well.
Yeah. So what is that one thing that you said like you've learned in the past year that you didn't expect in this petrochemical business, energy
What I
business?
didn't expect?
Yeah. Any surprises? Work culture, processes?
Trying to think if there's anything I shouldn't say. Okay, you know what? Just working in this field in general as an engineer. You think you're coming in and you do all of these massive design calcs, you design all these columns, you're in there with that. And then you come to Sasol and you write a lot of reports.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit of a culture shock. Like I was sort of expecting it, but not. You know, you don't really get to do a lot of the engineering work you studied for. That was a surprise. Work culture, I must say, I've been fairly happy with. The teams, the people that I've worked with have been nice. You know, the teams have been nice, in my experience at least. So that wasn't too bad. But yeah, I think it was also just navigating all the different disciplines, some of which aren't always as keen on engineers.
Yeah.
So production.
Yeah.
I think it's just navigating all those personalities that was also a bit unexpected. So expected, but not really internalized yet.
Okay. Then let's see. You mentioned like you work with other disciplines, and then the collaboration between different disciplines is very good. So what is one thing that you learned, or the valuable advice that you got from working with all those multidisciplines, engineering, like mechanical, electrical, or anything that you got from your mentor that you've got in the past year that's more valuable? Like, this is available advice and I'll take it with me.
I don't know if it's something specific.
No.
But, you know, it's also, you know, we mentioned before that I'm an introvert. I don't mind speaking to people. I just don't always like approaching new people.
Are? Not now. That's not what it is.
I still am. I still don't necessarily enjoy, you know, going up to a person that I haven't met yet. Hey, can you please get me these data sheets or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
But it's, you know, I think advice from my mentor, from what I've seen with other colleagues, I mustn't be afraid to just, you know, go out, speak to people. Half the time they'll give me what I need, and it's a lot easier than trying to do it by myself.
I guess.
So that, I think, also just being very intentional with my career. You know, the graduate development program, you're kind of, I don't want to say stuck, but you're set within its bounds. You do tech support work, then you go to P&E, and then depending on where you're placed or what you specialize in, you go there.
Yeah.
But there it's also, okay, don't just go where the wind takes you. If you want to have a particular rotation, you know, stick your hand up, say you want to do that. Don't just, you know, go along with the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I mentioned that there's people mentioned, but I'm just gonna put in some few words. But you just say like you were like a very strong-willed person. People might not see that, but you don't go with the wind. That's why I was saying that you just sparked like, I was like, oh, I had a conversation with him yesterday. You had a chat about that. Well, like, no, you're a very strong-willed person. Like, if you set your mind on something, you set your mind on something and you get it done. So, yeah.
Some call it strong-willed, others just call it stubborn, I guess. No, like, there are a lot of aspects where I'm very, you know, it's fine. I'm very happy to go with what other people want. Yeah. But in some scenarios, it's like, if I have a goal, you know, I will go for it.
Yeah, we just mentioned, like, just because the mass says like this is how things should be done, you're like, no, and you feel like it's just like should be done the other way, you just voice it out.
I think for me, having heard from a lot of other EITs last year who did not necessarily get to do a lot of, I would say, value-added work in their rotation. My aim is, you know, come hell or high water, I want to add value to the company. I don't just want to do, you know, dummy exercises to get the competency and move on. You know, I want to contribute. So, you know, it's a very non-specific goal, but in that aspect, I'll be like, I'm not just going to sit and wait for work. Exactly. If you don't have work for me, I'll go find something to do.
Find it, yes. Yeah, that was very good. I guess like you find all these things at the beginning of your career. People find it very late, and by the time they figure it out, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but someone, just like the other one, for the advice that you gave from someone who's in high school going into varsity, and then now for someone who's like a fresh out graduate coming into the industry, what advice would you just give them when they're starting?
I think don't be scared of the change, because it is a big adjustment, especially if you go to a company like ours where we work a lot, tech support. Other people go to consulting companies and then they can get to apply a lot of their undergraduate, degree. But I think don't be afraid of the change. I think also don't be afraid of like approaching the higher ups. Speak to your senior managers, speak to your line managers, get to know the people and really build your network from there. These guys, they don't bite. They're like, half the time they're like helping young engineers.
Yeah.
So I would say that. And then also just be comfortable with the fact that when you come in, you have all of this theoretical knowledge, but you don't always understand how it applies to this plant. So speak to your engineering team, but also speak to production, because they're the ones running the plant. Speak to the instruments and the maintenance guys. Don't be afraid to learn from them as well.
Yeah.
I think I learned so much from production last year. It was, you must just, don't be in your own bubble. Speak to people.
Yeah.
And that's how you really learn.
Yeah. Then looking at, since you started, last one on the EATs, what mistake, or should I say even mistake, what are the things that the EATs, or not EATs actually, like fresh out graduates coming into the industry, what mistakes or things they like to do that you wouldn't advise people to do? It doesn't have to be with regards to work, anything general.
So I will say I will give graduates a lot of grace, because they're finding their feet when they come into a work environment.
Yeah.
I find, especially at the beginning, they're kind of, a lot of times people are unwilling to really integrate into the community that's here, especially, Secunda. A lot of people aren't from here. They come from Johannesburg or Cape Town or Durban or wherever else in the country. And then they just kind of stick to themselves. And I mean, it's fine. You're still finding your feet.
Yeah.
I would recommend, I don't even want to say build a life here, but find some things to do that's not work, that's not sitting in your flat or just going home every weekend.
Yeah.
Because that's not a life. You want to be able to go out and do things, even in Secunda. So I would say, just try to integrate, find something that you like to do. If it's gym, it's gym. If it's, I don't know, join a club or something,
Okay.
Make friends and go out and do things. But in saying that, I also, having been there myself last year, it takes a while. So also just give yourself grace and allow yourself that time to adjust. If you don't always find time to see friends, it's okay. You'll get there.
Yeah.
But don't, I don't know, hole up in your flat for the whole weekend and do nothing.
Yeah.
That's also not healthy.
Okay. Then I'll see you tomorrow anyway, by the way.
I'm not seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday.
Exactly, go to church.
Oh yeah, I'll see you at church. I won't see you at work.
Yeah, I'll see you at church. Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. How, like, if you have to, religious person, how would you say like being Christian has like carried you through like life in general? It can be academics or now at work, like the source of comfort for you. What is it?
Going deep, huh? I think for me, the biggest thing that my religion and my faith has given me is kind of just a template of how to act as a person.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, preaching to everyone, but, if they can see, God through me in a sense, that's good. So it's, it's a matter of treating people with kindness and compassion, just trying to live those values. That is the biggest thing for me. And then also I would say faith also gives me a comfort when times are hard, because I'm like, okay, this moment is not very good at this point, whether it's struggling financially or with health or family issues or friend issues or whatever else it may be. It's hard, but it's again that refrain that my mom taught me, it'll all be all right in the end because God will make it all right in the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think that has been my biggest comfort. And I know, he's always looking out for me.
Yeah.
And that also gives me, comfort.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I see. Very good. Last one. Gonna go back to the cards again. I asked your brother to say something to you. What do you think he said? Like, just to convey a message. What do you think he said?
Sure, I actually don't know. I mean, we speak so much all the time. It's like, what message would he want to convey?
Oh, but there was this questions that I asked him, the silly questions, right? It was something about. Okay, before we go there, what is your nickname and what is his nickname?
Oh, then my nickname that he calls me. I'm Child. And he's Boy Child. I don't know how that started. Yeah. I think he started it because it's funny because he's the youngest and then he calls me Child. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well then I'll respond.
Yeah. Yeah, but one thing that he mentioned was like what he likes about you when it comes to challenges, that you're very like a resilient individual and good at analyzing things and knowing what to do next. But last thing that he said was, I'll find it for you. I'll find it for you. But while we're there, maybe we can get this one first. So, if you and him were to team up for a comedy show, what would it be about and who would play what roles?
A comedy show?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I don't think we'd be doing stand-up or something. Who'd be doing what roles? You got me there, Greg. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, he said you guys will be in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'll be detectives and trying to sort out murder cases and stuff. So
murder cases.
Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've seen it, but it's a comedy show. I don't know. I've never watched it, so yeah.
Okay, my thing. Yeah, I know why he picked Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's his favorite sitcom.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, this is what he said to you. He said, Child, that's how he started. He said, Child, I love you and I'm proud of you, but always remember, you will always be Child.
Aww, that's sweet.
That's what he got. But now, just want to make you pick the last 3 cards again. Then that will be it. Okay. So let's go again. Randomly.
3.
Yeah. Let's see. What is your favorite place?
Why do you look disappointed in that question?
In our home. That's the thing.
Favorite place? What, in my home?
Yeah, that's it, because it says our home. That's why I looked the other way. Now, what is your favorite place at your place? What is your favorite thing in your place here?
I think actually where I'm sitting right now, my perch. This couch, I saw it randomly. I think it's in this one furniture shop in Trichardt. And I was like, okay. And then I was still thinking about it like 2 weeks later. So this is where I read.
Yeah.
So this.
Yeah, I'll
know?
read 60 books and 45 books there if I had a couch like that.
Yeah, no? This couch is also nice for naps. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, okay. Is there something that yay. Okay. Why are we ending questions with questions like this? Okay. Is there something that I can do better that I'm not doing right now?
I don't know, Greg. Is there?
No, you tell me. Like, that's a question. You picked it. Yeah.
I feel like I don't know you well enough to answer that.
Okay. Then.
Okay. Do you something that you could be doing better right now? Nah, I think you're a pretty good host.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks. Appreciate it. Our last one. At what age do you think people can fall in love? At what age should people marry?
Ooh. Okay. I think people can fall in love at any age.
Okay.
I mean, if we're speaking, adults wise, I've known people who get married at 22. I've known people who get married at 40. I don't think, personally, there's no right age and there's no wrong age to do any of those things.
Okay. With that being said, when are you getting married?
Ish. Hey, loaded question.
Loaded question.
I am still a child, Greg.
Wow,
Not
a child
for
that is
few
working. A child that is working. Okay.
I still feel like a child. I don't want to see a wedding ring for at least 2 years.
For at least 2 years.
At least.
Maybe we might get it.
When are you getting married, Greg?
Yeah, thank guys for coming to Thank you for coming to King Square Podcast. This will be the end of it. Soon. Did you just say soon?
Soon. Okay.
Would you see your 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Or will be let's put it that way. Just before that 2 years of yours. So yeah.
Okay, Greg.
Okay. I mean, thank you. We've done like an hour, I think. We're just chatting and stuff. But thank you for inviting me in your home. Having a discussion with me. And this is the shortest notice? Like inviting someone into the podcast. It was
Thursday, 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
That we're gonna shoot like today. So yeah. Yeah, but thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Spending time with Greg on a Saturday. Oof, must be bad. Yeah, but thank you. Just
Thank
having
you.
like.
See, you got lucky. You caught me on a weekend where I wasn't doing anything.
Well, it's not even I was going to say coincidence, but it's not. But I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that it did. I knew you were smart, but I didn't know you were that smart. But yeah. But yeah, thank you for just having discussion with me, and I hope someone who will be watching this will find something valuable from this.
Yeah,
and then from your experiences as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Then good people, Naka, tell people to like, subscribe, and share to other people. And yes, thank you. Bye. There you go.